What's up, world? It's Omar S. Once again, follow me on Twitter if you're on the Twitter sphere at Omar_SX3. Definitely check out Adam Green at no_more_news. He's saying $500 million to Israel. APAC 4 hours ago. Today's the 17th of December, 2019. Congress just authorized $500 million for U.S.-Israel defense cooperation. These resources will be invested in the systems keeping Israel safe today and in the R&D needed to confront new missile threats in the future. R&D, what is that? Research and development. So just wanted to share with you this story that Whitney Webb wrote. If I could find it, there it is. Former spy details Israel's main motive behind Epstein's sexual blackmail operation. So let's check that out. Hopefully, I need to update my system here because that's my computer in the background. If you hear that, it's just like the fan. It's pretty loud. I assume it's the app I'm running and then this browser maybe. If anybody out there does some video editing, let me know how we can take care of that, how I can take care of that, and that'd be great. Alright, anyways, former spy details Israel's main motive behind Epstein's sexual blackmail operation. Minpress, Whitney Webb, definitely follow her on Minpress. She spoke with Ari Ben Menashe, maybe, a former Israeli spy who worked closely with Robert Maxwell, Delaine Maxwell's father, as part of their work with Israeli military intelligence and had frequent encounters with Jeffrey Epstein. Montreal. In recent weeks, renewed attention has been brought to the allegations that Jeffrey Epstein and Delaine Maxwell's sex trafficking and sexual blackmail operation was run on behalf of Israeli military intelligence. Those claims revolve around statements made by a former Israeli military intelligence official turned public relations consultant, Ari Ben Menashe, whose allegations regarding the Epstein scandal were reported by Minpress this past October. Ben Menashe's claims related to Epstein first surfaced in an interview between Ben Menashe and Zev Shalev of the independent news outlet Narrative. As detailed in a Minpress summary and commentary of that interview, Ben Menashe claimed to have seen Jeffrey Epstein in the office of Robert Maxwell, Delaine Maxwell's father, several times in the 1980s. At the time, Ben Menashe was in close contact with Robert Maxwell regarding their mutual work with Israeli military intelligence. Maxwell, in addition to heading a media empire and being one-time member of UK Parliament, was a long-time operative for Israeli intelligence, so much so that his 1991 funeral was attended by no less than 6 serving and former heads of Israeli intelligence, as well as several high-ranking Israeli politicians and prime ministers. Maxwell is alleged to have recruited Jeffrey Epstein for Israeli intelligence and later introduced Epstein to Ben Menashe and another operative, Nicholas Davies. Epstein was introduced to Ben Menashe as having been approved by leading figures in Israeli military intelligence directorate, known as Amman. Minpress recently conducted its own interview with Ben Menashe as part of an ongoing investigation on the life and connections of the now infamous Jeffrey Epstein. There you see him, Roy Cohn's weirdo ass, Delaine Maxwell. Hey, Daddy. I don't know who this guy is. And there's Clinton. Part of that interview is provided below with relevant commentary, particularly regarding claims related to the relationship between Epstein and former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak. Epstein's trip to Tel Aviv immediately prior to his arrest, and the reasons for Israeli military intelligence interest in orchestrating and financing a major sexual blackmail operation targeting top U.S. politicians. Let me blow that up for you. Just checking the time. Israel requested that Epstein target Clinton. Minpress News asked Ben Menashe about Robert Maxwell, a known asset and operative for Israeli intelligence, having recruited Jeffrey Epstein. Ben Menashe confirmed this to Mint Press and also noted that after the initial meeting, Epstein was frequently present in Maxwell's office in London. During the 1980s, as Mint Press previously reported, Epstein claimed to have been an intelligence operative and so-called bounty hunter in the world of shadow finance. During this time, he was known to have developed close relationships with several British arms dealers, particularly Sir Douglas Leese. Thus, Epstein appeared to frequently be traveling between the Middle East and London, which is also supported by Epstein's now infamous Austrian passport, which he was believed to have carried during this period of time. Ben Menashe told Mint Press that he not only met Epstein after Epstein had been recently recruited by Israeli military intelligence, but had seen him on several occasions thereafter, as Epstein used to be in Robert Maxwell's office in London quite often, and would arrive there between trips to and from Israel. In addition, Ben Menashe revealed his understanding of why Epstein was eventually shepherded into acting as a professional sexual blackmailer on behalf of Israeli military intelligence. Per Ben Menashe, there were concerns among Israeli intelligence figures that, following the Reagan era, a new president would push for Israel to make peace with the Palestinians, something those officials sought to avoid by any means necessary. ABM, which is Ben Menashe. Here's the thing. Mr. Carter, as in President Carter, the Israelis feared that Mr. Clinton, when he was campaigning for president, would be a repeat of Mr. Carter. He wanted to press them for peace with the Palestinians and all that stuff. They feared Clinton was that, but they feared he was that. And I think Mr. Epstein was sent early on to catch up with President Clinton. Mint Press News, well, that's interesting because the first year Clinton was in office, Epstein was clearly already attending donor dinners at the White House and making White House visits as well. Ben Menashe said, yeah, that's right. I believe his biggest client was Mr. Clinton Catch or whatever. And he had a few other congressmen and whatnot, but Clinton was his biggest catch. Thus, Ben Menashe argues when Bill Clinton's candidacy in the 1992 U.S. presidential election became clear, efforts were made to target him via sexual blackmail, and Jeffrey Epstein was chosen for that purpose. Bill Clinton was eventually blackmailed by the State of Israel, and his administration was also targeted by Israeli espionage as part of the mega spy scandal. Epstein's involvement in the Clinton administration and his visits to the White House date back to Clinton's first year in office. More information on the Epstein-Clinton relationship can be found in this Mint Press report. If you just click there, take it there, just check out mintpress.com or mintpressnews.com because they do it up. Keeping it real with the truth. Big ups to Whitney Webb on all the reporting she's done on this. Truly some good reporting, a true journalist. Shout out to her. So, where were we? In addition, Mint Press also asked Ben Menashe if he was aware of Delaine Maxwell being directly involved in her father's intelligence-related activities prior to his death in 1991. Ben Menashe noted that Delaine accompanied her father so frequently, including on a now infamous 1989 party on Maxwell's yacht, where Donald Trump and several key figures in the Promise software scandal were in attendance. Promise software scandal is another thing you gotta look into if you don't know about it. However, he stopped short of saying how involved she was or what she has specifically been involved in prior to her father's death. When did Epstein really meet Ehud Barak? One of the more controversial ties between Epstein and powerful politicians is that between Epstein and former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak. Barak has claimed to have only met Epstein in 2002, and from that point on, the relationship was very public, with Barak frequently visiting and even spending the night at residences owned by Epstein, including apartments where he housed the underage girls that he exploited. Barak also visited Epstein's now infamous island and recruited him to help fund the Israeli intelligence-connected company Carbine 911. Another very important piece of this puzzle. However, there appear to be indications that Epstein and Barak may have met much earlier than Barak has since claimed, given that Ben Menashe claimed to have learned of Epstein's recruitment by Israeli military intelligence in the 1980s. Minpress asked if one of the people involved in his recruitment was Ehud Barak. Barak served as head of Israeli military intelligence directorate Amman from 1983 to January 1986. Ben Menashe could not recall the exact year when he first became aware of Epstein's recruitment by Israeli military intelligence, but stated that it was most likely during Ehud Barak's tenure as the head of Amman. Yet, even if Epstein's recruitment did not take place while Barak headed Amman, it is highly likely, per Ben Menashe, that Epstein had met Barak during this time because Robert Maxwell became buddies with Ehud Barak, and Robert Maxwell, probably introduced him, the young man Epstein, to Barak, if the two were not already acquainted. Since the Epstein scandal broke, Ehud Barak has insisted that he did not meet Epstein until the year 2002 and claimed that the two had been introduced by former Israeli Prime Minister Shimon Peres. Ben Menashe dismissed the possibility that this claim was true, emphatically stating that he was sure that they had met before and that he did not believe that their first meeting was in 2002. This guy is going to wind up dead. Ben Menashe. Maybe he's protected. Maybe he could speak on it because he's so up on that level. Epstein's 2008 trip to Tel Aviv. Just a few months before he was sentenced to prison for the first time in June 2008, Jeffrey Epstein had made a sudden visit to the Israeli capital of Tel Aviv. In April of that year, the Palm Beach Daily News reported that Epstein was staying at the Tel Aviv Hilton and quoted an Epstein spokesman as saying that he was spending Passover meeting with Israeli research scientists and taking a tour of military bases. Sometime prior to Epstein's sentencing on June 30th of that year, Alexander Acosta, then U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Florida, signed off on a lenient sentence for Epstein, who was charged with soliciting sex from a minor. That legal arrangement has since been nicknamed the Sweetheart Deal. Acosta later told Trump transition officials prior to his nomination for Secretary of Labor that his decision to approve the Sweetheart Deal came after he had been told to back off in the Epstein case because Epstein belonged to intelligence. They were told, hey, back up, Epstein, back up off Epstein because he's part of intelligence. That's what's known. Though Acosta did not specify from whom he had received this information, former CIA agent Phil Giraldi has made a convincing case that they originated from Epstein's then lawyer Alan Dershowitz, a close associate of Epstein with ties to high-ranking Israeli politicians, and Barry Krischer, then Florida State Attorney for Palm Beach, who recently received an award from the Anti-Defamation League, the ADL, for his outstanding contribution to the legal profession and to the community at large. As detailed in previous Minpress report on Epstein ties to Israel, let's do that again. As detailed in previous Minpress report on Epstein's ties to Israel, published this past August, the ADL's longtime top funders have close ties to Epstein and his sexual blackmail network, particularly the Bronfman family of Seagram's fame. Ben Menashe told Minpress that Epstein's 2008 Tel Aviv visit was likely blowing smoke and involved Epstein trying to make himself important, maybe not to get arrested, and hoping the Israelis would help him. He then added that at the time they probably did help Epstein, but added that the second time around, 2019, well, it would be a harder sell. So that's from Whitney Webb again. She's in Chile and she does really great work, so check her out. She's on Twitter, and I'm not sure if she's on mine, but it's at _Whitney Webb. Let me just look that up real quick before I end this one. Minimize here. We're just a little under 15 minutes, and that's all I get. So let's go to Twitter so you can check out Minpress, Whitney Webb as well. So if you're on the Twitter sphere, let's see, there she is. It's at _Whitney Webb, as I believe I was guessing. That's her. Does great work. You guys check her out. And thanks for tuning in. I hope you're having a good week so far, and catch up with you later.